today from George, South Africa, and my name is Philip de Vries. I'm joined right here on the set with Jacques van der Merwe from Heartland Broadcasting.
That's it.
Is there any other names you want to add to that? Other than Heartland Broadcasting?
No.
You got any?
Well, we changed the studio name to
Thank you.
The
Now you
Studio.
caught the hint.
Okay. Sorry.
right.
Yeah, because we're a cluster of different companies now, from the Media Box, Garden Route Media, and then Heartland Broadcasting, and hopefully soon there'll be more. And so we decided to rather just call it a neutral name, The Studio. So original, don't you think?
That's really great. I really like that idea. And for those of you that are watching, in case you didn't know, you probably need to know that you are watching a program which is called Our World Today. And in Our World Today, there's something that has made a tremendous impact.
It has.
I mean, more than, in my estimation, more than any other single communication means,
Yeah.
the world of filmmaking has made an impact across the board. In fact, it's a multi-billion, trillions of dollars kind of a
Zillions.
thing every single year
Yeah,
that is coming about all over the world. And one of the things that I was really impressed by is that some of the programs that we're watching on television are actually coming from not just the United States of America, from Great Britain, but actually from other parts of the world as well. Like one program, I can't even remember the name of it. I should remember it, but it's this investigator, the one that does the negotiations on television on Tuesday nights, and and I know it's filmed partially in Great Britain, but it's also partially done in Hungary, of all places, Budapest.
Okay.
At the what is called the Krona Studios, or Cisplex Films, and all of that kind of stuff.
You see, the thing is, since forever. When was the first television screen in commercial use?
Well,
Is it 50s, 40s?
in the 50s, we actually, in my hometown, we actually had a television maker in my hometown.
Really?
Yeah, they were manufacturing. Nobody will ever remember this, but it was called Warwick.
Yeah.
The Warwick Television Company, and it was right in my hometown. But they were one of the first to really come out with these big transistor tubes and all of that kind of stuff. I mean, back in those days. Now I'm giving away my age as well, because
I didn't want to say it. I didn't want to say it.
I mean, I can remember all of that kind of stuff. But in our household, we never had a television until somewhere in the early 1960s, because my dad had a conviction about televisions that they could create an idolatry, and I think he was right.
Yeah, I want to say, isn't that what's happening? Because I mean, television. How much time do you spend actually in front of a television screen, and you're just staring at this television the whole time, and things.
Well, I agree. The television screen is attractive because we are living in a high pressurized world. And I'm going to give you some of the psychology behind why people do what they do.
Yeah.
But having said that, you know, there comes a winding down. If you have a long day, lots of pressures in your day, then it's kind of nice to sit there and to pick and choose something which you can just vegetate a little bit, but at the same time, not just vegetate, but stimulate. Because I don't want to sit there and dumb down, because that's what a lot of people do. That's where the expression couch potato comes from.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You see, and that's the thing. We don't realize it, but kids, adults, everyone spends a lot of time. We don't realize it because you get so into television. You get so into the world. But because, I mean, television or film, but let's talk about television, takes you to different parts of the world while you're sitting on your couch. And you get so mesmerized by all those places that you're going to, you don't realize that you're sitting down in one spot the whole time doing nothing. but your mind and your eyes are stimulated.
Except while the commercials are going,
Then you run for the
then
kitchen.
you go to the kitchen, or you get your dishes done,
Yeah.
or you go to the bathroom.
Unless you've got Netflix,
Oh,
then you're in trouble.
yeah.
No breaks.
Was-
Well, no, you can have breaks. You make your own breaks.
But you said something which I thought was very interesting, because we had a gathering last year at OBI, and it was bringing a bunch of business people and what have you. But it was also stimulating interest in the film business. And we had a session there where it was a breakaway session. And one of the points that was made is that in a world where, as the prophet Daniel talked about, in the last days, people will be running to and fro.
Yeah, yeah.
It says that.
Yeah, it
It
does.
says knowledge shall be on the increase, and
Yes.
there will be people running to and fro. Never has there been a time where so much travel has come about. And one of the things they were making the point about is that if somebody sees something on television, then the travel people want to stimulate that to try to get people to go
Go
there.
there, yeah.
And,
Which on the
yeah,
one hand is a good thing if
I
you can
think it
actually
is.
go there.
Yeah. And that's why, what's that popular series that was filmed in New Zealand?
Oh, Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the
Let
Rings.
me tell you something.
Yeah.
You know, actually 10 years ago, I did a trip around the world, which was absolutely amazing. And I can promise you guys this, the world is round. Trust me, I went around the world. Not dish, didn't happen like that.
Plane follows the contour of the world.
But you know what? One of my stops were in New Zealand because I was crazy
Yeah.
about Lord of the Rings, and I went to some of the sites. I was actually at Rivendell. I was actually, you know what? There's another one, Narnia. I was on the beach where
Oh.
they filmed one of the scenes in Narnia, and it
Fantastic.
just goes to show you. And it was magical to be there. Now, New Zealand is a magical place. It's just beautiful. I love it. But really being in those spots where those films were shot was absolutely amazing. Even as far as I know, that the one place that I did miss was down on the South Island. They built a big city on top of a hill, and I know that people actually go there. There's nothing. It's only a road leading up to this mountain in the middle of nowhere. And they go there, there's a bunch of swords and some clothing. They put it on and they take photos, and that's it. And then they go back again. Just showing the power of this, travel and the movies and everything.
Very, very powerful point that you're making there. And I know we've envisaged a lot of things right here in the
yes.
Southern Cape.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
when I look back, Jacques, over the last 5 years, I mean,
What a
how
journey.
we were introduced and all the different components that
Yes.
have combined together. And people still ask me certain things about how things going with Jacques whenever I see them, if they don't see you. And,
Yeah.
it's a pretty powerful thing, that.
Yeah, yeah. I think our journey, naturally, God plans everything that happens to you, and His ways are perfect. And I think from the first moment, for instance, I've told you this many times. When I met you, there was a familiarity. It was like, and I told you, I know you from somewhere, and I think the guidance and the journey that we've been on over the last 5 years, absolutely amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, especially when you consider the ups and the downs.
Yes,
I mean, there's
yes.
been all kinds of emotions to deal with, but we also recognize that attached to this industry and to everything that's happening with the trimmings, the trappings of television and filmmaking and everything that's attached to it, there's a certain dynamic that is always there. And that dynamic, I call it the clash between darkness and light.
Yes.
It's
yes.
always there.
Yeah, because interestingly enough, even though television can be such a great medium to take people all over the world. I mean, I've seen things on television when it comes to travel that I will never, ever in my life be able to see in real life, that a lot of people won't be able to see in their lifetimes. But then also the bad side to it is, and I know that we've discussed this before, is the influence that television has on family values, our value system,
Yes.
the way that we think, and it's really trying to put the norm of what is supposed to be. And for us, believing in the Bible and have chosen to keep the Bible as our guidelines, the question would be: is how much do we give in to what television now say is the way to go? Because that's the easiest way of saying this is acceptable, this is how you should be, and people are just following it.
Yes. By and large, I mean, why does the fashion industry go so well? Why does it do it? Because people follow trends.
Yeah, yeah.
And
yeah.
I mean, in many of the younger generation in particular, fashion means something to them. And it's the same way with films. If you can walk around and be boasting about, well, did you watch this or did you watch that or did you understand this? I mean, the total value system is based upon the fantasy world.
That is so
There's
true.
something there.
That is so true. You know what? With you saying now the fantasy world, something that I've picked up very, very strongly over the last couple of years, how television has kind of boiled us in warm water. You've heard that story about how do you boil a frog? You put him in cold water on the pot on the stove,
Yep.
and you turn the heat up little bit by little.
Yep.
And slowly but surely, without him realizing, he gets cooked. And I've seen that on television because 10 years ago, some of the stuff that we've got on television now would not be on television whatsoever. But slowly but surely, the producers, the writers have brought in certain kind of ideas that would not be acceptable previously.
Yes.
And they've made it acceptable. But not only that, they're pushing for more and more and more. So, I mean, we've got TV series that's totally filled with darkness.
Yes.
A lot of the storylines, they catch you by creating an amazing story that you absolutely love, characters that's absolutely amazing,
Yes.
and then it becomes darker and darker. And the question is, am I going to continue watching this, or am I going to let it go? And a lot of times people don't want to let it go because we like it.
That and therein lies one of the dilemmas that I've faced up to, because I was kind of like put in an atmosphere when I was young where keep everything away. Don't talk about this or don't mention these kind of things. But it kind of created a curiosity factor, because therein lies what motion pictures are all about too, because you get your curiosity is piqued
Yes.
by what you look at,
Yeah.
and you don't want to lose the train of thought, so you just continue to watch it. Now, I've trained myself over the years that if certain things are coming up on the television screen or in the movies, I've trained myself to say, I'll take one slice of that, but I'm not going to take the whole loaf. If there's one more slice
Yeah.
that comes
Yeah.
in, I'm out of there.
Yeah.
I'm moving it, because, but it is a training
Yeah.
that one has got to get into.
And a discipline, because, and I think a lot of young people especially, and even older, anybody, kind of gives in very, very easily if they like their story. Now, see, this is the thing about television and films. People love stories. I mean, that's been proven over not even the years, through the ages.
Yes.
People love stories. They love to be entertained. I mean, if you think back many years ago, you would sit around a fire and tell stories. I mean, that's biblical stories started off that way.
Sure.
And history was done in that way. And so the thing is, television is actually on steroids telling stories, because in our industry, the one thing that we are certain of, there's not enough content. Our challenge is there's not enough money to make the content to keep up with the demand for content. And that's why on a lot of television networks in South Africa, you find so many reruns that people are getting sick and tired of it.
Well, one of the things I'm very grateful for, after looking at it over many years, is the fact that there seems to be a return, going back to your statement that you made a return to family-oriented type of material.
Yeah.
And I like what I'm looking at. I like what different houses are looking at. I like the fact that when we started talking about Garnered Root Film Studios and also some of the people that are working in Cape Town, you know, they want family-friendly content. And
Yes.
if it's not going to be family-friendly, they're not going to get very engaged in that
Yeah.
process.
But see, I think a lot of programs depend on going above and beyond with nudity and cursing and trying to, and then they hide behind the whole thing of, but that's art. You need to give expression to your art. And I don't agree with that always. You can tell a great story without putting in unnecessary stuff.
Especially the language part. If the F word comes up, that channel is off in my house. I mean, it is gone. We're out of there.
Yeah,
Morena
yeah.
and I will not watch it.
And that makes it quite tough for you because, I mean, it's everywhere.
I know it is, and you know, it's the same way with cussing. It's too easy to cuss. I know, because I'm a human being.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, sometimes when I'm out on the road, the words that pop into my head, I ask God to forgive me.
That's not with bad drivers.
Of course, it's with
Okay,
bad
that's
drivers.
with bad drivers.
And I ask God to forgive me because I need His cleansing from all the bad things that I want to do to these
Yeah,
guys.
yeah.
But the bottom line is, with anything in life, we have virtue. But here's the thing: I had a discussion with somebody this morning, in fact, about this very thing, that has to do with, you know, the whole content of character and the giftings of individuals. We oftentimes accentuate the giftings of people, and that's really great because they're entertainers. They've got gifts to hand out. But at the same time, if their character has not developed with their giftings, they become prima donnas. They become hard to be around. I mean, I've been in this industry for a long time. There's some people, I don't want to be anywhere near them because, man, I can't use the word,
Yeah,
but they're
please.
a pain. They're a
Yeah.
total pain to
Otherwise,
work with.
people will switch off from our program.
Well,
if you-
exactly, and you know, it's that sort of a thing that we want to try to encourage people to develop a kind of like a discriminatory kind of a nature about what we watch.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? You make me think of something else now that I think we need to just have a chat to because I don't know much about it. Tell me about what do you think about the fact that actors are being paid so much for movies? I mean, yes, you get the face that everybody loves and recognizes, and there's a certain value system to it. But isn't it a little bit ridiculous? Because I mean, there's a lot of actors that gets paid 500 million rand. Some of the top actors. What do you do with that amount of money?
Well, what you do with it is to get them into place. And I've never had a problem with people making money. I have
No,
a problem with what they do with it. And because they don't need the lifestyle
Yeah,
that
yeah.
they're accustomed to. They don't need to change the top of a hotel to accommodate them when they shoot a movie, which
Yeah.
is what certain actors do that.
Yeah, yeah.
And
You know something interesting? Currently, there's a new movie out with Keanu Reeves. So naturally, there'll be a lot of posts about it. And one of the posts that I saw on Facebook actually said that Keanu Reeves supports a whole bunch of children's hospitals. And I think that's actually in secret. And he's been doing a lot of other things, living like a normal human being
Yes.
anyways,
yes.
which is really commendable.
Well, I knew it, for instance, athletes in professional sports are considered athletes, but beyond that, they're considered entertainers. So therefore,
Okay.
they command higher salaries.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know what caused that to come into existence, because why does entertainment take precedence over something else? If you go to certain societies, your teachers are your best paid. And I wish that was the case in our case, because then we could have a higher standard of excellence.
Youth workers. I
Yeah,
mean, isn't
precisely.
your youth the most important segment of your community? Because
1000%.
you need to form them to become workable people that's a benefit to society when they grow up.
I have
and
a
yet
friend.
we don't.
I have a friend in America. He was a professional player in baseball for 12 years, and he had injuries and what have you, which eventually caused him to finish off his career. But he could have he could be living a multi-million rand or $1 million existence. But I've been in his home and I've seen how he lives, and I'm
Okay.
saying to myself, what is it about this guy that's so special? When you see the volume of ministries and the different works that are being supported because of his dollars that he made. That's why I say I don't begrudge when a person makes, as long as they know what to do with it,
Yeah.
and
yeah.
and do something that will take their hearts and transform them and do something to change society.
Yeah.
Do it from the bottom up. You know what I'm saying?
Now, maybe this is a good time in the program to talk to you, and let's talk about, because a lot of the people that's watching us regularly know that we constantly refer to what's happening here in George, or let's say the Garden Route. I think at this stage they know that you're the chairperson of the Garden Route Film Office, and I'm on the board as well.
Yes.
Let's talk about why do we keep on pursuing getting the industry into this area?
I think one of the things that we recognize, and from my perspective, I think one of the reasons I exist on planet Earth is because I'm watching the younger generation that I've worked with for 18 years now, plus, they're up here and they're adults. What I'm looking at is that the film industry has got a lot of jobs.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
there's so many jobs. Now, what needs to happen is that the kids that we've literally helped from the time that they're 2-year-olds and have watched them grow up to become teenagers and ultimately adults, they're not going to go to college because they don't have the money to do that. But they need a job.
Yeah.
What we're doing is trying to promote that. And I think that the film industry, with the film office, we have the capacity and are being capacitated, number one, by the Garden Route municipality, and number two, the
Yes.
Mossel Bay, and we're even getting other municipalities to join us in that. But what's happening is that we are now looking at the very real possibility of training facilities second to none. We're having people coming in, and people on our board, Patrick Walton and Lika Burning and various others, are very actively involved in the training of the younger generation in particular. But we see the challenge that thousands of people can actually be brought in at many different skill levels,
Yes.
so that we
Yeah.
can watch that become a reality.
And that's what we're pushing towards, is that we really want to create opportunities for people to better their lifestyles, to be able to take care of their families, to be able to do more, and then naturally also to pay it forward
Yes.
and train the next generation and
bet.
create. I mean, the Garden Route truly, even though we've been working here for quite a while, it is an untapped source of amazing locations that the film industry just needs to discover. And I think it's going to change this whole area. And I would say that's the reason why we are always talking about it and why we are working so hard on it, even though we're not getting paid for it.
Not at this stage,
Not at this stage.
but
It doesn't matter.
and then we talk about one of the opportunities we're getting coming down the road is the Durban Film Mart. And
that's gonna be
we're going to
good.
be able to take some of the younger generation from this area, go there and be able to set things up in a proper manner,
Yes.
so that people will know what we have to offer here.
And the region and all those things.
Quite right. And we're going to attract different things. Can you imagine what would happen if we were to attract the Game of Thrones?
Now there's a
Now,
story.
There's a story.
Well, yeah, you know, you mentioning Game of Thrones, that is kind of a very interesting thing at this stage, is how the viewers actually are complaining about season 8.
And why is that?
And well, if we take for us here at the studio, a lot of us actually follow Game of Thrones over the last 8 years quite severely,
Okay.
and it was a frustration that the final season is being packaged into 6 episodes of just a little bit more than an hour each. And they really rambled it off and finished things just like that, where previously the stories were long and the drama and the character development, and you know, so many people died that you didn't expect that would die in the series. So we were really into this. And then suddenly season 8 was just like an wham bam, thank you ma'am, done. And a lot of people were saying, no, wait, hold on. And this is maybe a bad thing. We wanted some of the characters to die in a more spectacular way. I know that's not the right thing to do, but I mean, just showing the success of the storytelling over the last 7 seasons, coming up to season number 8, where the storytelling, the character build, you really get to hate these guys with a passion. And you wanted them to die a little bit more severely than they did. They had very good moments, season 8. But yeah, I think across the world, I know that there is a petition going around the world with more than 1 million
What
signatures. The guy that started it mentioned on Facebook, I don't think anything is going to happen from it, but we're doing it anyways. So it would be interesting if they actually do something about it. See if the viewers really have so much power that they can actually sway Game of Thrones production.
Well, I look forward to the time when they can produce a series where life means more than death.
True, but then that'd be boring.
It would be boring, but it doesn't have to be.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
You see, and that's what they feed on. They feed on what's entertaining, what people want. And if you really look at it from early ages, gladiators, that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
People want to be entertained.
Final question.
Yes, sir.
Favorite movie and why?
No, you cannot ask me that.
Why not?
Because I love movies. You have to ask me sci-fi, then we're in trouble. Because it's Star Wars and Star Trek.
Okay.
All right. And then your deeper movies of all times, Braveheart. Love stories, historical, Titanic. Computer
by
animation.
genres.
Yeah. Computer animation, Avatar.
By the way, my son-in-law is related to the Wallace family from Braveheart. Going back to the 12th century.
Okay, I'll stay away clear from him. Yeah. So no, you cannot really say, what's my all-time favorite movie because I
Okay.
won't be.
Well, I have one.
Yeah. What's yours?
I have an all-time favorite.
Casablanca.
No way.
Well, okay.
Humphrey Bogart, I know that.
Yeah.
But
Gone
Audrey
with the Wind.
I know all about them. But my favorite movie, it's a movie called Magnificent Obsession. It was made in the 1950s. It's
never
been
heard of it.
redigitized.
Yeah.
And it's about a brain surgeon and about how he was killed in a boating accident by a playboy that was out on the lake, and there was this accident that happened out on the lake, and the brain surgeon was killed, and then this playboy began to realize that this guy that he had killed in this boating accident actually had a secret life. And
Really?
that secret life was a blessed life, and it was a wonderful thing. He decided that he was going to get trained. He turned away from his playboy ways, became a responsible adult, and he took up the same position that the guy that he had killed as a brain surgeon.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've never heard of
And
it.
the secret life as well.
Okay.
So I would encourage anybody to get it. It's called Magnificent Obsession.
Okay.
That's my favorite secular, but probably my favorite movie of all time, because we watch it every year, my wife and I, round about Easter, and it's called Ben-Hur.
Ben-Hur.
Yes.
The old version.
The old
The
version.
long movie.
The very long movie.
Ah, nice.
And just a classic kind of a
Okay.
movie. Well,
Okay.
most people also know that my son is one of those filmmakers that likes all these fantastic Lord of the Rings kind of stuff, and he's busy putting all these things together as well. So that's my
Exciting
final
stuff.
remarks about that.
All right. So, yeah, it seems like we did a whole episode just about movies.
And maybe we should go back to this again sometime and talk this through.
It is an interesting one, yes.
Having stated that, Jacques, it's been good to share this time with you. And
Awesome.
thank you for kind of having a little bantering session about movies and
Our fun favorite
and
thing.
television and what have
Yes.
you. On that note, I want to say thank you for joining us, and I want to also say thank you to Stefan Klopers and to Damien Hennessy for standing with us behind the scenes. And we are going to be back again next week, and hopefully we will be able to have the guest that we've been promising for a long time. But he's busy at the moment, so wait and see what happens. take care. May the Lord bless you, and may he keep you and make his face shine upon you. And keep sending us your comments and get people to join us. Thank you very much. God bless. Bye-bye for now.
And we need to remember that we're on YouTube now.
Yes, please direct people to Our World Today. It's got my name next to it, Philip DeFries. And that will be where people can begin to subscribe. And if you ring the bell, then it will give you a prompting that we're coming on.
Yes. So don't miss out on that one.
Yes.
And with that,
Goodbye. Bye for now.